Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everyone. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from the basement bunker beneath Kettle Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour of the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along this morning. President on Truth Social is saying America's elections are rigged, stolen, and a laughingstock all over the world. We are either going to fix them or we won't have a country any longer. I am asking all Republicans to fight for the following: Save America Act. All voters must show voter ID, identification. All voters must show proof of United States citizenship to register for voting. No mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. So this was the president on True Social. Now, hold on. That may have been actually yesterday, but I think you shared that. The president sharing that yesterday morning. But once again, everybody's got to show a voter ID. You need to show proof of citizenship when you go to register to vote. No mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel, the president is saying. So the president's been very clear about this. Senator John Fetterman was asked about this over the weekend, and he is in favor of requiring photo ID for voting. Well, of course he is, because it's common sense. It's just absolutely common sense. So he was on Sunday Morning Futures yesterday, and he said voter ID was not an unreasonable requirement. He said it's not a radical ID for regular Americans to show your ID to vote. No, it's not a radical ID. And Mike Lee, who is one of the senators who's sponsoring the Save Act, he said Fetterman's right. Who agrees? Well, I happen to agree. I think Fetterman is spot on. So Fetterman pointed to Wisconsin. They have similar protections requiring proof of citizenship for federal voter registration and photo ID at the polls. Only difference in Wisconsin is they will make that ID available to you at no charge. So if you want to go vote, you want to get an ID to vote, you can get it in Wisconsin at no charge. He says 60% of voters in Wisconsin support such safeguards. So House Republicans plan to vote this week on the Safeguarding American Voter Eligibility Act. I think it's really important that you let your senators know where you stand. Let your senators know where you stand on the SAVE Act. So House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, it's hard not to laugh every time you mention him. He was on CNN. Dana Bash said 71% of your fellow Democrats support requiring an ID to vote. Why are they wrong? He said Republicans are engaging in voter suppression. Trump is it's the same old from the Democrat Party, and except for Senator Fetterman. He gets it. He rejected comparisons of the SAVE Act to Jim Crow laws, as other Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries, Schumer have been saying. Schumer was calling it Jim Crow 2.0, which is absolutely laughable. So Fetterman's not buying that. He also broke with his party leadership on the issue of funding for the Department of Homeland Security. That, by the way, that's a story we're keeping an eye on, that funding runs out on Friday for the Department of Homeland Security. So that will be a big story then throughout the week. Super Bowl is where a lot of it's at. Outrage on the part, and I missed this morning, or I would have mentioned it during the program. Again, I don't watch the NFL at all. So I don't watch the Super Bowl. I don't watch the commercials. I just don't participate in the Super Bowl at all. I don't watch it. And apparently fans were outraged by the performance of the Black National Anthem before the Super Bowl. This is the song Lift Every Voice and Sing. Have you heard this? So instead of the national anthem, they're performing, and this was Coco Jones who performed it, Lift Every Voice and Sing. It's also known as the Black National Anthem. And there's a lot of pushback on this, the NFL. See, this is why I despise might be too strong a word. I really don't like the NFL. I really don't. I don't like the NFL. I don't like what they push. And that's why I choose just not to be a part of it. I find it's gotten very easy for me to completely unplug. Here's the thing. You might think it's tough. And it was for me, but for a little while. But as time goes on, you find out how amazingly easy it is to unplug from the nonsense of the NFL. So Coco Jones kicked it off with and you got a lot of people who are responding on X to this. One who said, America has one national anthem. We're sick of this woke BS. And then there is a page on X called It's Tiff. And I checked it. She's a black woman. And she said, I'm sorry, no. Black national anthem is so segregationist and perpetuates more racism. We're all Americans. Leave it at that, she said. And I was very intrigued. The Breitbart embeds comments then on social media in the story. So I clicked on her page. I thought, well, let's go take a look at her account on X. Again, this is a black woman. And she says, and this is recently, I think in March of last year, she pinned it to the top of her page. Dear white people, not only do you not owe us a damn dime, despite pleas for economically and genealogically impossible reparations, feel free to braid your hair if you want to, and let's love one another like God and Dr. King intended. One love, she said. Now, how do you argue with that? I thought that was so beautiful. Seriously, I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. But you got other people responding. Since the NFL is ruining the Super Bowl already with their divisive Black national anthem, here's the real national anthem performed by the late Whitney Houston. A lot of folks who remember that. So you get all kinds of people who are pushing back about this. And one who said, there's no such thing as a black national anthem. There's no such thing as a white national anthem. There is only one national anthem in America. If that offends you, then you're part of the problem. So a lot of pushback from folks right from the get-go, from the lift every voice and sing instead of the national anthem. And that right there, it's like, okay, what's wrong with the NFL? That's exhibit number one. Exhibit number one is that. Just incredible. Breitbart's also got a story about leftist protesters who were gathered outside of the stadium protesting what? ICE? Yep, they were there protesting ICE. Video footage posted to X by TMZ showed a huge crowd of protesters with signs that said, ICE out of our communities. Stop violence. Deport ICE. California is 27% foreign born. ICE, stop the cleansing. Protesters were also seen waving anti-ICE and anti-Trump flags, according to TMZ. And then you had the NFL, the chief security officer had stated, there were no planned ICE activities for the Super Bowl. And yeah, again, this is what's wrong with the NFL. Again, people protesting, you got a right to protest. You want to go out and whatever nutty belief you want, that's your right. But the NFL and what they're doing, just difficult, I think, for a lot of us. Axios has an interesting piece this morning, the death of sports writing. I thought, interesting. With the closure of the Washington Post sports section, sports journalists lost one of its crown jewels. You notice how much the legacy media is telling us how much we've lost with the firing of these people last week in the Washington Post. Oh yeah, America has lost so much with these folks who are no longer implied by, no, my tongue is thick this morning. I don't know what's going on. I didn't get very much sleep. But the death of sports writing, the death of journalism at the Washington Post. I'm just like, life is going to go on. We have seen a lot of changes this is just, life goes on. They're saying the marquee platforms of sports writing have been gutted and shuttered over the last decade, victims of cold, hard media business realities and the evolving demands of the modern sports fan. So, and then they go, there have never been more ways for sports fans to watch and learn about their favorite teams and players, but increasingly it's met by content from non-journalists. So services that used to be supplied then by the sports media. Now you've got people who are doing what I'm doing, podcasts, and they're commenting, and you've got online fan communities, players going direct to fans. So in other words, the internet, and more engagement on the internet is what is leading to the death of sports media. I think even then some of the legacy media as they have been. That's why so many platforms require you to pay to get in, because that's their business model now, is we got to pay you to come in. And therefore, if you are paying one of these left-wing publications, if you're paying for that content, what kind of content are they going to give you? More of the same, right? More of the same. Okay, you're leaning left already and you're paying for it. And so we're going to keep you happy because we want you to continue to pay. It's one of the beautiful things about radio. You don't like it, you just turn it off. I'm not charging you anything for this. I mean, I invite you in each day, and I'm glad you're here. I welcome you very, very much, but you don't pay anything for it other than your time. That's all I ask you for. Oh, and please subscribe on YouTube. So I really don't ask you for much. I'm certainly not asking you to open your wallet. So anyway, you get fans then. I think then you start seeing these fan-driven things that start emerging with the power of the internet. and the fact that everybody can stream what, I mean, you can get up and, sorry, you could be up and running and doing a stream like this with the purchase of a camera, purchase of a microphone. That's all it takes. So for a couple of $100, you could be in and doing your, even less than that if you're willing to, so several $100, and you're in, and you got your own platform, and you're giving your own views, and maybe you're bringing other fans together, and you're inviting other folks in. You see a lot of that kind of thing going on. It is hardly the death of sports reporting. The media, I just love the reaction from the media. They're not in control of it anymore. Oh, and now the Washington Post laying off all these sports writers. Oh, somehow like that's going to be the end of sports reporting. Oh, please, 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 please don't make me laugh. Also, there was just checking the time here. There's one other story I wanted to share. I think this is from the Daily Caller, if you want to read it in more detail. They've got an editorial at the Daily Caller reacting to the comments by the coach of the Seahawks, Mike Macdonald, giving glory to God after winning the Super Bowl yesterday. Now, I mentioned that to you several times on the air this morning. I want to hit it again here. This piece at Daily Caller says, a man of God and a Super Bowl champion elite. Seattle Seahawks head coach Mike Macdonald is now the owner of a Super Bowl championship ring, winning the new piece of jewelry in just his second year at the helm of the franchise. And they talk about the fact that Seattle was very much in control of the ball, 29-13 victory over the New England Patriots. And Macdonald said, I believe God called me to be a coach, and I listened to him, and I thank him. We are incredibly blessed to be Seahawks, he said, and now we're world champions. He was not the only one giving thanks to God. Star running back Kenneth Walker III, who was named the MVP of the Super Bowl, also praised God when he was awarded his trophy. He said, I'm not going to lie, especially in a piece about the Lord, but I was rooting for the no, excuse me. I don't think that this is, I think, the piece from, he pointed to the Lord also, and there's an audio cut. But the writer of this piece at Daily Caller says, I'm not going to lie, especially in a piece about the Lord, but I was rooting for the Patriots because they had a boatload of money on them to win an even bigger boatload. Unfortunately, that backfired. And then it goes on to say, congratulations to the Seahawks. And I think that seeing this from Coach Macdonald as well as from Kenneth Walker, pointing not to themselves, but pointing to Lord and thanking God for their win and recognizing God. I just think that's a powerful moment. And that's the one I want to leave you with this morning. If you are not a subscriber of mine on YouTube yet, I want to ask you, please, to consider becoming one. What are we up to now? I want to take a look at we've steadily had a growing number of folks, 578. So now we are just a couple of people short from hitting 580. I am on my way to 600, and then we'll be pushing for 700. So if you are not a subscriber of the Greg Belfrage Show, please become one, and you'll have my thanks. I appreciate all of you so very much, regardless of what platform you're watching on. Some of you are watching on X, some on Facebook, the majority on YouTube. That's where I get most of my views from, is from YouTube. And I want to thank you all for for being here. I appreciate it. You have made it to the end of the video, so you're part of my gallery of champions. Special salute for the Bunker Brigade. Those are the folks that are on YouTube each and every day, commenting, and kind of a nice group of camaraderie that is formed between all of them. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. See you again tomorrow. Until then, I'm underground and gone.